Okay.
Are these two expressions are same?
Yes, sir. Same thing. Extremely subtle or subtler than the subtlest. The subtlest, you know, is the vasanas. Subtler than the vasana is self. Full stop.
Okay.
Same conclusion we are coming to. The same period chart we put up just to communicate the same point. That
Anoraniyam.
self,
Yeah. Okay.
Anoraniyam.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah, Vijayji.
Guruji, I don't know whether it's the right example, but I will attempt it anyway. There is a term called soldier's way of waking up. Like you normally wake a person up, they get up slowly. But in general, when you wake up a soldier, he gets up immediately alert. You know.
Sir, even a philosopher wakes up very alert, sir.
No, alert physically, Guruji. Physically, and also perhaps he reaches for weapon or whatever, you know, I meant that. Okay. Not the subtle alertness. My thought was that unless he can be trained to do that, to wake up like that, he won't wake up like that, you know. Permanently there's a training. And if a person can be trained, getting trained is a part of intellect department, not mind department, I would imagine. So if a person can be trained and when he wakes up, he gives a certain reaction, there is some kind of an intellect present in the deep sleep. So this is my, I mean, I thought whether it will be valid or not, my line of thinking.
No, we are giving some credit to the intellect. There's some intellect existing there. We are just trying to make a candid observation. Otherwise, what is it that communicates the silence? And there has to be the faculty of the intellect which differentiates, to differentiate between sound and silence. That actually seals the point that intellect is there in deep sleep. Otherwise, there's no way. You may say, so you're imagining that there's intellect there. Otherwise, what is it that differentiates between sound and silence? It's intellect. It's only intellect that does with the pair. Now, in addition to that, you're saying because of a certain conditioning, of a certain thought, but in deep sleep, there is no thought, no? So upon waking up, so what wakes you up? So even as a philosopher, even as per my own experience, many a time I've seen it, many a time. It didn't happen today, but many a time I've experienced at 3:59 a.m. my eyes open up. 1 minute just before, and it's not that you had a disturbed sleep, a sound sleep, and suddenly you get up. It's just a miracle how you get up a minute before and switch off the alarm. I just put an alarm for what it's worth. You don't need it. But it just happens as a flash. How is that happen? What is it that is there in deep sleep to actually prompt you to wake up? Nothing is there in deep sleep, but there is, as you say, some intellect there. But it is that I really don't know. You aren't asked me to rationalize it. I don't know. But it is we say there are no thoughts in deep sleep, but yet something there that to wake you up. So it is the profundity of the very thought. All of us experience in certain situations where you have to take an early morning flight and you have to get up an odd hour. You don't need any reminders. You don't need any wake up call from the concierge. You don't need anybody. Automatically you get up because you know you have no choice but to get up. So you're conditioned the previous night to tell yourself, I got to get up, even if it's an odd hour at 3 o'clock in the morning or to get up, you'll get up a minute or two before. But if you couldn't sleep, that's another problem. I'm talking of getting up. There are people who can't sleep. That's anxiety disorder. That many people have, but very few experience this kind of a thing in its solidarity. It's a very solid experience. So when a soldier wakes up and goes to, he's just so conditioned, you know, and that conditioning is brought by the intellect, and what gets conditioned is the mind.
Yeah. That is the only, relationship what I would like to make to the intellect. That is conditioned when is capable of getting conditioned, which is an intellect-based process.
Intellect-based process. Yes, yes. Because, sir, the typical example of the intellect and the mind is intellect is the often we take in the corporate programs and all. I take this example. I don't think I take much in these classes. A typical example of the intellect and the mind is if the mind is the river, the intellect is the banks.
Bank.
And it's the banks that contain it and give a direction for the river to flow. So wherever the banks go, the river goes in the direction. If there's a natural bend, the river also bends because the banks are bending that way. So the intellect is that which gives a groove to the thoughts, direction, conditioning, whatever you call it. Okay, sir. Right. Thank you. So I don't know, Shivaji, built-in clock, it's there. What is that, Setuji? Some English, what language is that? Have you spelled it correctly?
And this is circadian rhythm is a body clock. About body clock.
Right. Correct. All right. So this was the concept of pervasiveness. The second aspect we said you can measure subtlety is based on control. Now, how do you explain control? It is mind that controls the body. Many people say healthy body, healthy mind. I say something wrong with you. It is healthy mind that is healthy body, not healthy body, healthy mind. So mind is subtler than the body. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt that vasanas controls the intellect. Controls in the sense here that vasana is again the cause. In fact, it's the intellect has the capacity to overrule a vasana, no? Ultimately, intellect can overrule a vasana, but that way it is different. But mind is subtler than the body, no problem. But intellect is subtler than the mind because the intellect can control the mind. But in current situation, many a time we face this, that our intellect is unable to control the mind. Now, how do you justify this? Most cases, if not all, most cases, it is the mind that controls the intellect. And how do you say intellect controls the mind, therefore intellect is subtler than the mind? Subhaji. Who is unmuting? Why is not Subhashi unable to? Yes.
Yeah, intellect controls the mind, and because sometimes the mind is so strong that it overrules the intellect. Intellect always tells that this is the right way, that is the wrong way, but mind moves as per his own choice, and so mind sometimes it is not being controlled by the intellect. But I think
You are absolutely right, sir. Sometimes the mind has its own way. But then to establish that intellect is superior than the mind,
Intellect is the guiding factor, basically. It guides whether things are right or wrong.
But
And
if
it gives the choices. It gives the choices. Intellect
but
gives the choice.
if that be so, it should happen all the time, isn't it? Why isn't it happening all the time? You get what I'm saying, sir? If you say
Yeah.
intellect is superior than the mind, it must be superior all the time. It is not so. Sometimes the mind bulldozes the intellect and say, go to hell with you, I will do what I want.
Yeah.
It's very bullish. The mind is very bullish. The mind is very arrogant. You know what I'm doing. It doesn't heed. It doesn't surrender to the intellect. It trounces, it stamps, it insults, spits on the intellect and says, shut up, I'm doing what I want. That kind of attitude, a bullish attitude, the mind has got.
Yeah, vasana comes overcome the mind. Actually, vasana has overcome the mind at that time.
You know, don't go to the vasanas here. You're trying to find an answer, therefore you're going to the vasana. Vasana doesn't help you here, sir. It may, but don't go to the vasana. But you have a valid point, sir. I'm with you very much, but you can still further probe and find out why is it that way.
Okay.
Okay, right. Yes, Seduji?
Mind overpowers intellect because mind is dominating. Intellect, spiritual quotient is very low. Higher the spiritual quotient, intellect will be higher. So intellect, because of that, whenever intellect is weak, the mind overpowers. But otherwise, intellect is much superior, and it discriminates. We are full of ignorance. That's why mind.
Correct. Absolutely right. So if you have to test two things and say which is stronger, you give equal strength to both and test it. So you give 50 units of strength to the intellect, 50 units of strength to the mind. It is the mind that will lag back. But now the intellect has 10 units and mind has got 2000 units. Impossible for the intellect to intervene. You know, that unequal comparison is like you're comparing a brilliant kindergarten student to a 3-time failure of 7th standard fellow. And there is a test put between a fellow who has failed for 3 times in 7th standard and a topper of, let's say, 1st standard. He's a 1st standard topper in the class, in the kindergarten. Any day, the 7th standard fellow will defeat or win over the fellow at the 1st standard. That doesn't mean this fellow is brilliant than that fellow. Unequal comparison. So you compare 2 goats, 2 donkeys, 2 elephants, 2 horses. Then you say this horse is better built than this horse. That way. All right. Perfect, Setuji. Yeah, Hariji.
We generally say the intellect is stronger than the mind because the mind can go only to the known realm, whereas intellect can go also to the unknown realm. The mind can never go to the unknown realm.
Yeah, correct. That's an additional point you can take note. Mind can only go to known, intellect goes to unknown. Therefore, it is subtler. But in the context of control, this point which we made is relevant. But then another reason why intellect is superior than the mind is because of this. Great. Okay. Yeah, Vijayji.
Guruji, I have a doubt in the sense, so intellect is capable of and does control the mind, not necessarily always. Isn't the other way of controlling the mind is to keep it busy with the higher thoughts?
And what is it that introduces a higher thought to you?
I mean, bhakti and, harmony, wouldn't it be qualify as keeping the mind in check? I mean, I don't know whether it's called control or not.
What keeps in check is the intellect, isn't it?
No, that is rational.
What is intellect?
You
Is it not
thought
rational?
out, yeah, it's thought out rational. Other way of doing it is that if I don't think of too many things, and the mind is still controlled. If I'm able to put my mind and anchor it onto something good, then I have no problem I have no capability to do think of other things.
Now, let's say as the satsang is going on, some other thoughts, let's say you have a couple of important engagements during the course of the day, and suddenly a thought that passes by and starts occupying your mind. Intellect quickly comes in and says, hey, no, this is not the time to think of it. Let me postpone it to after the class. Now let me concentrate. So you're not thinking of anything other than the process or the happening. What is it that is doing? It is the intellect.
So you're saying, Guruji, that even the anchoring process needs the help of intellect to keep it anchored. Yeah.
Yes. Now,
Okay.
the point I was making is, what is it you said with the higher thought? What is it that gives you a higher thought?
Oh yes, to begin with, to reason out that this is the way, one of the ways to do that. Yes, I agree. Second thing is, I think,
No.
okay,
Sir,
I get your point.
Come to the point. What is it that gives you the higher thought?
The realization that is required.
Now, what conceives a higher
intellect?
thought?
I agree.
What conceives the goal is the intellect.
Mm-hmm.
What keeps the mind to the cause is the intellect. What helps to ensure it doesn't wander is the intellect. Therefore, intellect is superior to the mind.
That is, I have no doubt about that or questioning it. I'm only saying that, if we can train ourselves to be in bhakti mode all the time. Bhakti, maybe no, I'm not using the right word.
No, you are right in a way, but what is the unique quality of a bhakta? In the context, if you can think in the context, since you use the word bhakti, Vijayji, Gayatri, what is the difference between a bhakta and a jnani?
Bhakta is engaging his mind to the higher thought, emotionals and other things. A jnani is using only the intellect to reach there.
Correct. A jnani is predominantly operating on the intellect. A bhakta,
yes,
mind and emotion.
Mind.
Now, what is the advantage which a bhakta has got, which a jnani doesn't have?
A bhakta has got the advantage of his mind already. He's diverting it, so the mind's play is comparatively less. So the intellect.
Which play? Sorry.
Play of the mind. He is already diverting the mind. He's engaging the mind itself to the higher thought. So the play of the mind is comparatively less.
You mean the play of the intellect?
Yes.
No.
Huh? You play now in case of a bhakta, is the play of intellect there or not?
It is there. Partially, but majority is drive. The intellect only is making his mind itself to carry to that higher. The subtle intellect is there for him.
I don't qualify the intellect here. Now you're qualifying the intellect as subtle intellect. Now you're right there, but don't bring that element. When we're talking of intellect here, we're talking of gross intellect. Okay. You said a jnani is a rational person. A bhakta is an emotional person. Now, my question is, what is the advantage a bhakta has over a jnani?
The control of the intellect is comparatively very less in a bhakta because his mind is already directed towards the God or the goal.
The advantage a bhakta has is the mind itself is fascinated with the Lord. Like Hanumanji's mind was fascinated with Lord Rama. Before that, it was meandering like a monkey mind. But the moment it saw Rama, it fell in love with Rama, and then its mind itself went to it. It didn't have to pull the mind from any other attachment. So the mind has dropped the thought or fascination of worldly joys, and it is seeking the higher. So that challenge which a jnani has to pull the mind from whatever you engage with. So many distractions to a jnani. So he achieves that goal of keeping the mind on the higher is with the intellectual control. He may have other interests, but he says, no, I don't want to pursue. So he plucks it and puts it there. But that effort or that problem doesn't exist for a bhakta.
Exists for bhakta.
For him, it's like eating an ice cream. He doesn't have to swallow, it just melts. For a jnani, he has to chew 32 times.
For a bhakta, there is no choice and he doesn't have to unlearn anything. I mean, automatically, he looks at it only as one path.
It is natural for him. It is natural.
I mean, yeah.
There is no question for him.
In his,
you can't sit and take an Upanishadic interpretation to him. He'll say, Agra Utram, Agra Ahyam, keep to yourself. I am only in the Brahman. What are you talking Agotram to me? What Adresham, all these things, he's not interested.
So at the end of the day, both lead to the same goal.
Correct. But therefore, so let me be Bhakta, sir. Would you want to conclude that way? Both are going to
it seems to be, honestly, Guruji, it seems to be a more stronger approach, I don't know, for the want of any other word. Whether one will succeed or not is different.
I want you to take back these words. For the simple reason being, there's nothing as easy or hard. What is important is it your nature? And
True.
Knowing you and the kind of a rational person you are, what little I have known of you and the rational aspect you are, there may be a percentage of bhakti in you, but you will end up scrutinizing, analyzing, judging. That intellect will come in. Now you can't just say the intellect, you just shut up and let my bhakti take over. It will not happen. No. You will not be true to your nature. So a bhakta will not be in this classroom. As simple as that. He will not be in this satsang.
Big statement, Guruji. I agree with you.
I'm being factual. In fact, there was a times, only time in my stay in the ashram, there was a gentleman who had visited the ashram. He came, he heard Swamiji somewhere, and then he came with the intention to join the ashram. And obviously, Swamiji said, you come to the ashram, stay for a few days, we'll see, and then I'll interview you and decide whether you can study for 3 years. And how I know the whole story is that the gentleman was actually sharing the room with me as a guest. He was there for a week, 10 days. He was with me. So I knew the entirety of it. I remember he coming back and he started sobbing in the room, crying. I said, what happened? He said, Swamiji has rejected me. He says, I can't join the ashram. I said, I don't know what I've done. And then I asked, what is it that Swamiji said? He said, Swamiji has told me that I am not the right guru for you. Swamiji is saying this is not the right place for you. Huh? I also didn't understand the concept till we started discussing. And he said, Swamiji explained so clearly to me, but I'm heartbroken that I'm not able to join the ashram. He says, as a guru, I'm not the right guru. You are a perfect student, but I am not the right guru for you. A guru didn't look for a good student. The guru said, I am not the ideal teacher for you. You go and find another guru. Because this man was 80% emotional. And you have to be 80% rational to be in the ashram. So he will be like a fish out of water there. So it is apacharam. It is something wrong a guru would do to a student by not giving him the right environment to grow. So keeping that context in mind, a path is not necessarily right or wrong, easier or fast. It all depends on what is your constitution. Now, I know exactly what my constitution is. I'm willing to spend a lot of time on jnanam. I'm willing to spend a lot of time on karma. But I have no inclination towards any
bhakti,
unnecessary paraphernalia of bhakti. The only bhakti I do every day, sir, when I go to the institute or come to the center, I light a incense stick, I put my palms together, I bow down. That is my bhakti for the day. Any more ritual, any more exercise, I find it's unnecessary for me. I have enough bhakti in me to pursue the path. I don't have to sit and perform a big yajnam. In fact, other day, somebody was almost, we met a lady, Pushpama. In fact, we met her and then she introduced us to a lady and she was performing a mass yajna where over 1,000 people were coming. And that lady was so devotedly saying, Guruji, please come. We will assign a yajna shala for you where you can sit with your people and perform. It's where everything is well organized. After I left that place, I said, yes, ma, yes, ma. I couldn't give this to her. I told Pushpama, please don't give my name. It will be a punishment for me. No, I have to be true to myself. And I have to, why should I put on an act of what I'm not? I'm not saying it is right or wrong. It is not right for me. As my journey, my path, I don't need to go through that exercise of ritual or practice to attune my mind to the higher. I don't need that, yeah. Just because I don't need it, it is not the right path. Nor can I impose my views on you and say, oh, this is the only way to do it. No, this is how I will do it because this is my personality. Tomorrow, if you want to perform an elaborate puja or a ritual or an exercise, feel free. And at the same time, I say, when we inaugurated the institute, we did that yajna, that homam we did and things. I can still feel that sense of vibration, that feeling is still as fresh, is close to be, is going to be near or so soon. That feeling is as fresh as if it happened yesterday. That is my level of bhakti, to revel in that frequency. But I don't need to do that every now and then because I don't need it, sir. So one has to be true to their nature. So for a bhakta, bhakti is the fastest path. For a karma yogi, karma is the highest path. For a jnani, jnanam is the highest path. And the interesting thing is, I always said, an individual is karma, bhakti, jnanam, all three essential composite. So there is the karma, bhakti, jnanam. It could be 30, 40, 30. 30 karma, 40 bhakti, 30 jnanam. If that is your constitution, cater to that constitution. And that is when you will grow to your potential. Otherwise, the growth is stunted. Okay, sir. That's why I said, please kindly take back that bhakti is easy.
No.
No, there's nothing like
I was
that.
again playing intellectual, Guruji, in terms of objectively looking at it. I didn't apply to myself.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
I mean, you are absolutely, correct. Okay. I know that I don't go that much for bhakti. I mean, it's nothing superior or inferior. It's
No,
just the way I am.
It is in fact the benefits of a bhakta and the danger of in a bhakti. The benefits of bhakta, we said, is the mind itself is drawn to the higher. The danger in bhakti is, what is the danger in a bhakti?
Blind.
There is an element of blindness which leads to fanatic attachment. You become fanatic. Wherever there is an attachment, you start glorifying, over glorifying something. If I'm attached to my guru, I think my guru is the best guru. If I'm attached to my idol, I believe my idol, my God is the best amongst all gods. So it is an attachment.
I can pursue my path so long as I don't feel that this is superior or, to the other approach or not. I mean, it's each one to his own best thing, so long the intentions are there to go to and take the journey.
Yes. No path is superior or inferior. But no doubt, intellectual path is the fastest to the soul, to the self. It's like there are three modes of transport. One is by bullock cart, other is by a motorcycle or a car, other is by air. Karma yoga is by bullock cart. Driving a four-wheeler is like bhakti. Jnanam is like taking a flight. Now you may say, sir, how do you say, are you not prejudiced when you say that? No, I'm not prejudiced. Right now, all the discussion we are saying is the intellect is superior to the mind is superior to the body. The tool itself is a superior tool. So will it not be a faster means of reaching the goal? That's all we are saying. It is superior because of pervasiveness. No? So of the equipments we have, intellect is the fastest, is the most superior. The fact that it is a superior tool, it will reach faster. That's all. Correct, sir?
Yes. Perfectly. Thank you, Guru.
Most welcome. So the benefit of intellect is its precision. A benefit of intellect is its sharpness or is its crispness. But the disadvantage of intellect is ahankar, arrogance. So advantage of bhakti is where the mind itself flows, but disadvantage is attachment. Advantage of intellect is it is sharp and crisp and clear, but it develops ahankar. Therefore, to compensate ahankar, you need bhakti. To offset bhakti, you need jnanam. You want to offset what our intellects, Mr. Intellect thinks too much of himself, you need that little bhakti coming in. Hey, Shashtanga Namaskar Panada day, bow down, inna the ahankara irkonakku, bow down, go onto your knees. That's what bhakti helps you. It knocks your head. One knuckle, take a knuckle and hit on the head, you get a beating. And intellect helps you to get out of the attachments of knots of attachment. The intellect helps you. And when there is a blend of intellect and bhakti, you will do karma, you will do seva. That is where combination of bhakti and karma, when intellect and mind are well balanced, you do karma. When mind is predominant than the intellect, you do bhakti. When intellect is more predominant than the mind, you do jnana. The three yogas are meant for three different types of people. It is just, it's like science. It's like precision. It's so perfect. All I need to do is understand it and do what is the right thing. That's about all. Okay. So we have analyzed the concept of pervasiveness and control. Okay. Now the last 10th point in the description of the higher, he says apara the lower, but para the higher. The higher is avyayam. It is imperishable. So the word imperishable is only with reference to that which is perishable. It is everything other than the self perishes. So your body, one day has to perish. Anybody who knows that the body is going to perish one day will not develop an attachment to the body and the senses. Those who worship the senses are the grossest people. Those who indulge in sensual pleasures are the grossest people. So sometimes you see these animals, they mate. You see dogs mating on the road. That is their home. You see, and when you see them mating, it's the grossness. In mid-morning, they're mating. And is there no time for you to get into that kind of an activity? That's the grossness. That's an animal instinct. That's what this animal instincts. So any kind of giving into your senses, whether be it sight or sound or taste or touch. That is the grossest. Body perishes. The mind and intellect someday also perish. May not be end of this body, but they perish. So what really is the imperishable is the Atman, the self. Now, can I have the translation of the mantra 6, please? So if you remember last week when I started the mantra, at the end portion of the mantra, he says that yet bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. So that's the wise perceive everywhere as the source of all creation. Dhiraha means the wise. Paripashyanti, perceive everywhere. Now the word which I want to clarify here is bhutayonim. Bhutayonim means source of all creation. The last words of the mantra. Source of all creation, bhutayonim. Now, why does he say it is the source of all creation, but not the cause of all creation? There is a difference between the two words, source and cause. Brahman is the source of creation, not the cause of creation. Our English teacher can explain the difference between source of creation and cause of creation. She's busy typing. Please enlighten us.
It is the substratum, the very substratum that enlivens everything, Guruji. That's what I hope I'm in line with the thinking.
No, how can you say source as substratum?
Without the source, without the source, the effect cannot be felt or seen.
Give an example to differentiate between cause and source.
The very self is the cause for the world.
This is how that is what we are saying. Self is not the cause.
It's like the cause of the river is the source of the river. It's unseen.
Nice. Where are you, Gayatri Ma? Oh. Sorry, Ma. What is the difference between the cause and the source? Now, you can easily mistake them both to be the same, but they're not the same. Example, the lady mother is the source of the child, but she's not the cause for the child. The cause, the seed, is something else. A man is the cause, the source is the seed, the mother, the lady. She is the source where she produces, she houses the child. She produces the child, but she's not the cause for the child. The child, cause for the child is the man who planted the seed. You get the point. So the usage of words of cause and source are different. So he is not using the word bhuta yonim. He is not saying it is the cause of creation. It is the very source of creation. So the choice of words is very, very conscious. Now, when you say it is a cause, it has a certain implication. Before I explain, Setuji wants to say something. Yes, sir.
Vasanas are the cause. And the source is Brahman.
Correct. Source is Brahman. That's what he's saying. Brahman is a source of creation. So the source is very good, sir. So when you say the Setuji, the source is Brahman. The cause is okay, Setuji, hold on. UK. The source is Brahman, the cause is
I'm not getting the right words, Ruchi. Sorry.
every time I ask you this.
Ignorance.
What created the what created the world?
Ignorance.
So the cause, as Setuji said, the cause of the world. So this is, we are talking of the world. The source of the world is Brahman. The cause of the world is
Our ignorance.
not your ignorance,
I mean, general ignorance.
not general ignorance. Adi nariya irukka, adi paravailla. We are talking what exactly is the
Ignorance
cause
of
of the world.
ignorance of Brahman, Guruji.
So the ignorance of Brahman is the cause. There's a world of difference in the two. RM. Now you see the difference? So the cause and the source.
It's a misapprehension and non-apprehension, Guruji. Yeah.
No, what is misapprehension, non-apprehension? Huh? Isn't non-apprehension and misapprehension also as ignorance only? Non-apprehension is not understanding. Misapprehension is misunderstanding. Both of them are from ignorance only, no? You just use coy, flowery words to say only both ignorance only, but it is not the source. Non-apprehension and misapprehension, which is not understanding and misunderstanding, both are avidya. So the avidya is the cause. Amazing. How can somebody originally think of all this is staggering? We are struggling to fathom it. How can they conceive it? How can they so eloquently put it, effortlessly put it is the staggering part. Correct, Asetuji? Is the analysis correct? Yes, sir, you are unmuted only.
So, understood.
Huh? Is this what you are saying, isn't it, sir?
Yeah.
Right, sir. Right. Now, the further argument we can give The further argument we can give is when you see at when you see a house, you know there is a house builder, the house maker. When you see a pot, there's a pot maker. You see an ornament, there's an ornament maker. So there is a man who is the creator behind that creation. Similarly, you say, oh, there's a world creator, and the world creator is God. Chapter closed. Why are you racking your heads? No, the point we are making is, if the man who created the house is the house maker is the cause, the effect is the house, which is its creation. The pot maker, the potter is the cause, the pots is his creation, effect, cause and effect. SR. But you can't say, therefore, Brahman, Redigaru, for a moment, he didn't realize he's SR.
No, I realized it.
Oh, you realized, okay. Me darshanam, we're not having your darshan often.
Great, Guruji. You were conducting all the classes online. So you're not giving opportunity to come to institute.
Yes, yes, correct, sir. No, hopefully tomorrow we are praying, sir. The
Yes,
equipment has
Guruji.
gone for repair. It has gone for repair. It should come, hopefully, so we are hoping.
Whenever I see the message that today's class is online, so for a momentary blink of disappointment.
Gayatri Ma, irrespective of the system comes, we'll have the satsang in the institute tomorrow.
Yes, Guruji, we will have it. With the laptop, we'll manage.
Yes, we will laptop. We will go beyond this technical issue. But the equipment has gone for some technical repair and things. So we have found now not just the source of the problem, we have found the cause of the problem. Correct, sir. That gentleman yesterday who came, he said, no, we have come to the root of the problem.
Okay.
These were his words. We found what is the cause of the problem which was causing all this. Everybody were finding the source, not the cause. But he has come to the root cause and he said, sir, it is a minor issue. Some dust has settled in some part which is causing all that problem.
Oh.
So the unseen dust is the cause for the seen problem.
So sensitive.
Very sensitive. So anyway, tomorrow we will have the satsang, physical satsang, sir. We'll have your
Yes,
darshan.
Guruji, yes.
Right, sir. So the point we are making, SR, here is we can't therefore say, just like the potter is the cause for the creation of his pots, the blacksmith is the creator for all the utensils he creates, the goldsmith is the creator for all the ornaments he creates. We can't therefore conclude and say, therefore God is the creator who created all these things and beings of the world, the Nama Rupa. You can't say that. So when you say source, there is no cause and effect, correct?
Yes.
What yes? You must explain that yes to me. Usha, UK also is laughing. Huh? Are you okay?
We will get caught in the wrong foot, Guruji.
No, you better don't say anything because you'll have to explain yourself. Sir, what we are saying is when you say there is a source, there is no cause and effect. This is what we are saying. But when you say it is a cause, there's a cause and effect. Now, when you say source, there's no cause and effect. What are we saying? Example. I'll give example, SR, and you give the reality.
Yes, Guruji.
The source is the cause is
Can we take the
this is the relationship between Brahman and the world. The relationship between Brahman and the world is the ignorance of the rope. The effect is the snake. And the snake has a lot of poison. Now, fill in the blanks. What is the cause here?
Cause is ignorance, Guruji.
What ignorance? Whose ignorance? Ignorance of what?
So ignorance of conceiving the rope as in snake.
No, so this example is for the snake. If somebody
Yeah.
asks, where did the snake come from? We say it is ignorance of rope that produces a snake, correct?
Yes.
So it's ignorance of the rope that has produced a snake. But now we are trying to compare the example is how did the world come about? So what is the cause of the world?
Cause of the world, Guruji.
What is the cause? Like the cause for the snake is the ignorance of rope, right?
Mm-hmm.
This and this are connected. This and this are connected, right?
Yes.
Now, exactly the same way, what is the cause of the world? Is it not ignorance of Brahman?
Yeah.
Correct? Huh?
Yes. Yes,
So
Guruji.
the ignorance of Brahman, the effect of that is the world.
Right.
And what is the poison in the snake compared to the world? Unnecessary stress you go through.
Yes.
Unnecessary. All the stress you are going through is unnecessary. When the snake itself is imaginary, the poison also is imaginary, no? It's all in your head. You're creating an unnecessary stress over nothing. But when you say, but you must also understand the difference. But when you say cause or apart, this is different from the word source. When you say cause, there has to be a cause and effect. Example, seed and tree, chicken and egg. There is a cause and effect here, isn't it?
Yes.
But this doesn't apply to the source. That and this are two different things. Now you will understand, I hope you understand, why he says the wise perceive it as the source of all creation. You're still lost, SR.
Yes, Guruji. Here we can't apply the same rule of chicken and egg and
You can't apply.
seed
Correct.
apply the
Correct.
So because still we are trying to connect that logic here.
You can't connect. You can't extend that same logic.
Yes, logic here. So then we need to give a break and think.
That's why we say it's a source. Now, adding to the confusion, what Hariji has said,
Yes.
Brahman is the causeless cause.
Causeless cause.
Correct.
Let me.
No, I don't want to be the cause of that confusion. Hariji is the cause for that confusion, but any further clarifications, please direct to Hariji.
Let me dwell through, Guruji. Let me try to understand.
Right. No, it should be quite straightforward once you get a hold of it, sir. It is just the same idea that gets repeated in different areas. And whenever it comes, it's important we reiterate it so we get a hang of it. That's about all. Okay.
Yes, Guruji.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Hariji.
Guruji, you have taught us Brahman is causeless cause.
Yeah, correct,
Not in
sir.
this class, but in other classes.
No. But today you gave us that wisdom. No, that's the reason I said.
No. I got that wisdom from you.
Yes, sir. All gurus say the same thing, that they got it from their guru. All right. So what the only point that the mantra is making is the wise see the world and they see it as just like the rope is the cause for the snake, not like a chicken is the cause of the egg. We understand it as the rope is the cause for the snake, not like the chicken is the cause for the egg. There is no cause and effect relationship. So you can't say Brahman is responsible for the creation. You cannot point Brahman. And after giving such a heavy mantra, the next mantra, which will come back only after a fortnight, right? Next week, no class, isn't it? Next weekend, no class, Ilya.
Next week, we'll not have the class because Guruji is traveling up outstation.
Right. So there will be no class next Saturday, and next Sunday as well. We'll be having no classes. Please take a note. You will get a reminder. But in the next mantra, as he gives 3 parables, just giving 3 parables or comparing or trying to bring out the concept of creation and how he gives the shortfall in the first parable or example, he covers in the second example. And he says there are shortcoming in the second example, he gives a third example. An analogy, 3 analogies he gives. And then if you closely analyze, there is a shortcoming in the third analogy also. Just what it's worth, just present the translation. We'll just read it for what's referred. We'll come back and then see it. So the translation is, as the spider sends forth and draws in its web, that's the first analogy. As on earth the herbs grow, the second analogy. As from a living man hair grows on head and body, so from the imperishable universe, from the imperishable, the universe emerges here. So how did the, so, hey, irungo, no, what's wrong? So just like the universe has emerged from the imperishable, how has it emerged? Just like the web has emerged from the spider, just as the herbs have emerged from the earth, hair has emerged from the body. So 3 analogies he gives, and he tries to convey the deficiency in the methodology of comparison. The lacking, what it lacks is wholesomeness, but it's a beautiful, very, very famous, oft-quoted mantra. Anyway, Gayatri Ma is rushing, so we'll have to conclude the class because she is the host and she is the boss. Namaskaram, Gayatri Ma, Hari Om. All right. We'll come back. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.